Sponsored by Surfshark. Before folding phones, I was content. To quote Macbeth, whole as the marble, founded as the rock. And then, a couple ambitious companies proved it was possible to fit more into your pocket. And after that, well, each time I was forced back onto a regular phone, I felt cabined, cribbed, confined. So I dove with both feet into this new frontier, and for a few years I stabilized, grateful for the new normal. And then, this fall, one of the same companies that first made phones flexible decided to give us even more. This is the Mate X-T Ultimate by Huawei, a phone that becomes a tablet that becomes a true widescreen in your pocket. But is more space really all it's cracked up to be? Is something special enough? I took the Mate X-T with me for a week in India to find out. Before we take to the air, let me ground us in sober reality. You probably shouldn't buy this. At press time, prices for U.S. import reached up to... No, tell him, Axel.
Can I say it slow for you? Look, I need $5,000. Read my lips. $5,000 is what I need.
And while you can probably find it for less, don't forget to account for the time you'll spend getting it to work here. The de facto ban on American companies doing business with Huawei means getting Google services to work is possible but tedious. And while there are some tutorials to help with that, which I'll link below, the process still isn't as simple or secure as I'd like. When I got done setting up Micro G on Huawei's Harmony OS, only half my Google accounts actually worked. And the typical China market software hiccups would pervade the experience for the remainder of my time with it. Fortunately, I didn't have to buy the phone to learn all this. This unit is on loan from friend of the channel Marquez Brownlee, whose own video you've probably already seen at MKBHD. Thanks, Marquez. And while I'm disclosing, the trip to New Delhi you and I are about to take together was paid for by Mediatek, which also sponsored my appearance at a fan meetup, at which I got to meet many of my Indian followers for the first time. Adaptability. It's the trait I most wish I had more of. It's why you buy a foldable, and it's why the possibilities of this one are so provocative. Use the Mate X-T one-handed to Google Maps your Uber ride, bust out your boarding pass, and squander your last few pre-flight minutes doom-scrolling threads. Unfold it once for book mode to soak up what wisdom Lonely Planet has to offer about your distant destination, and unfurl the final flap to put that 10-inch widescreen to its best use, binge-watching a show that you're 2 decades late to. The thing I love about the Mate X-T is that it's a fusion of what everyone else is doing in foldables, with the inward folding design, with what Huawei once tried to popularize, the outie. That does give you 2 different types of creases traversing the deployed display, and they're not subtle. But as with much in life, they're really only apparent to other people, and they quickly become invisible to the user. I was pleasantly surprised to find the expanded phone is just as handy in portrait as in landscape. Long-form text platforms like Medium use the space well here, and the added weight of the camera module makes for better balance when holding it like this. Tall or wide, the software adapts elegantly to give you maximum information density across widgets and layouts. The tabletop posture is as handy as ever for tripod usage, though you do need to be careful not to scratch the delicate display when you do this. And when you close it, the inverse hinges elegantly collapse it down to 12.8 millimeters, thinner than the Razr Plus I carry every day. You'll notice I'm bucking my typical trend by actually using the case included with this phone. That's because it protects the vulnerable, exposed outer crease area when closed, and adds a needed kickstand when open. It's not quite as sturdy as I'd like. In full tablet mode, some moderate turbulence or even a stiff breeze could overcome it, but it's still incredibly useful for watching, reading, or computing. Those who were here for the heady days of 2021, packed with possibility and potential, may recall my review of that year's Galaxy Fold, which I called the 4-pocket laptop. Well, on this phone, the kickstand lets me shrink the number of pockets to 3, And the wider screen really sells the faux netbook experience. I actually bought a new keyboard for the purpose because I wanted one with an integrated stand so I could see if I could collapse it down to a 2-pocket laptop. But sadly, the phone's just too big for that. While it feels lightweight when you've got 2 hands free to wield it like a tablet, the reality is that it tips the scales at nearly 300 grams. Too heavy for this keyboard's arms, weighty enough to make you switch hands pretty often while in book mode, and landing like a true brick in the hand or pocket when you close it. On top of that, Harmony OS has the same limitations as Android when faced with a keyboard and mouse, so while using it like this is possible, it's not ideal. Hardware is only half the equation. It can't stand alone. To truly realize the dream of a pocket laptop, we need a software platform designed for the desktop. Maybe there's hope for that in the latest rumors about the plans for Android and Chrome OS, but as we've learned from Google over the years, hope can be a fleeting thing. Fortunately, the XT's battery life is less fickle. Subjecting it to the full onslaught of heavy usage I described a moment ago on its first day of testing, Uber, tickets, hours of reading, 4 hours of TV, social scrolling, note-taking, and research on India, the phone gave me 21 hours of usage, an astonishing 13 of which were spent with the screen on, and 5 hours of those in its full-size state. Not bad for a 5,600 mAh battery. And speaking of not bad, even on this most ambitious of phones, Huawei managed to fit wireless charging. Take note, other companies, it's officially time to retire the well-worn excuse that you just don't have the space. That leaves us with only the cameras to explore, and India offers one of the most evocative canvases at which to point them. The road trip portion of this review after this.
Privacy is a big deal these days. And if you're looking for a way to protect that privacy, consider my sponsor, Surfshark. With Surfshark, you get a lot more than just a VPN. CleanWeb automatically blocks more than 1 million malicious websites, phishing methods, and other threats, while Alternative ID builds you a brand new online identity, so you can stop giving away your phone number or email every time you register on a new website. And with multi-hop, you can put more than one server between you and your destination for even greater privacy and security. Surfshark doesn't log its users' activity, a claim recently verified by a third-party audit from Deloitte, and it's also converted all of its infrastructure to diskless servers. That means that any information that would usually stay on hard drives is automatically deleted whenever those servers are turned off.
Secure your privacy with Surfshark. Hit the link in the description and use coupon code MrMobile for an extra 4 months. And from November 8th to January 1st, you'll get Surfshark at an unbeatable holiday price. Thanks to Surfshark for sponsoring this video. India is a beacon of progress by many measures, but progress doesn't come without a cost. Several times during my week in Delhi, I found myself unwilling to leave our group hotel, confined within by the smog without, a byproduct of industrial energy production, internal combustion proliferation, and acres of crops being burned at the end of their season to make way for the next. The present always falling in service of the new. The new. And yet, much of the beauty to be found in this part of India surrounds the old. Our journeys beyond the resort were made mostly to monuments venerating the past, erected for the dead, populated by the dead, and patronized by the living, with all our strange infirmities. It's but one of many contradictions to be found in a place often described as a land of contrast. Colors saturated beyond beauty, but muted by a hazy veil of smoke. Resources stretched past the breaking point, but somehow leveraged by an ambitious, indomitable collective spirit. The jocular stage presence of a nichely noteworthy influencer masking saucy doubts and fears unplumbed for years. If you don't mind me getting a little personal for a sec, that's one of the curious things about a life like this. For a while now, my development as a human has made its greatest leaps in faraway places, among friends who live hundreds of miles apart, with milestones measured by media events and couched in the flimsy context of phone reviews. And coincidentally, this phase of my life has been bookended by mediatek summits. In 2021, my journey was about finding the courage to take action in the face of deep unhappiness while I reviewed the Pixel 6 Pro. In 2024, it's about learning to live with a different flavor of discontent I don't have the power to change, no matter how fancy my phone is. That reminds me of a term we were taught in Delhi, jugaad. There's no direct translation, but the spirit of the word shines through even the dry definition of the Harvard Business Review. Overcoming harsh constraints by improvising a solution using limited resources. It's a lesson I saw embodied by so many people I met this week. And it's a lesson Huawei has learned well. A few years ago, some of us thought the US ban would kill the company. Instead, it has endured, in fact, flourished, by adapting. Back home, and resettled in my standard foldables, a sense of normalcy returns. They're not too fragile. They don't require too many compromises to configure. They don't cost $5,000. But there's also an emptiness that comes with knowing what I'm missing out on. What's done cannot be undone. Once ruined, you stay ruined. Now that I know what's possible, I find I can't go back to living with what passed for satisfaction before. So I'll be waiting, impatiently, for someone else to bring this magic to market in another form, so that I can dive in to foldables again with both feet. This video was produced following 1 week with the Mate XT on loan from MKBHD, filmed on location at the MediaTek Experience India Summit in Delhi, for which MediaTek provided travel and lodging and also a fee for my appearance. However, as always, no company received editorial input or copy approval rights to this content. The lone sponsor is Surfshark. Till next time, from Michael Fisher, Captain Two Phones on Threads, thanks for watching. And stay mobile, my friends.